This is Severe Weather Preparedness and Awareness Week in Indiana. Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Tammy Miller, who is the Executive Director for the Emergency Management Agency of Dubois County. Tammy, what does your organization do? Is it right to say you used to be Civil Defense?
Civil Defense was the old name way back in the day. We're nothing but emergency management now. We're based off the Homeland Security out of the state of Indiana and the federal government. Actually, it's just a branch of that. However, we are county employees for Dubois County. So it's myself, and I have a deputy director, and then about 34 volunteer staff members.
Okay, and the volunteer staff members, are they mostly weather spotters?
Correct, they are, and amateur radio operators. However, there are a few that, just are, they don't have their license, but they are learning the weather spotting, and we just had a training session on the 13th of March that Louisville came in and did a little segment on teaching people what to look for in the sky. So,
and your organization, when bad weather threatens, or I guess any kind of emergency disaster in the area, you guys are activated, and you have a whole bunch of people that go out and do work on the nights when most people are in bed.
Well, we don't encourage our staff to actually go out and chase down a storm, but we are lucky in Dubois County that we have spotters that are located throughout the entire county. So when bad stuff is coming in, we are well prepared in advance. You know, that's the best part about this day and age. You get a good notification days, sometimes 5 days ahead, that we're going to have severe weather on a certain day. So we get our staff prepared that way. They know to be monitoring, and they'll monitor our amateur radio frequency, and they'll know where the weather is coming in at, if it's in Holland or if it's in Ireland or wherever it may be, and then those particular spotters will report back to our office then.
Sounds like the radio station WBDC. When we know that the bad weather's coming, we kind of all get ready to go, because at night, at that whatever hour it happens to be, we all go in.
Right, and we're going to notify you of that too.
Yes, and come to think of it, I have this question: why is it tornadoes always come in at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning when we're asleep?
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, just to see if we're on our toes, maybe.
I guess. Last year, 2012, was, fortunately, and we would hold all years like this, there weren't as many tornadoes in Dubois County, although in Indiana it may have been the most devastating in a while that we've had, especially with what happened in Henryville.
Correct.
But 2011, there were numerous tornadoes through Dubois County.
Yeah.
Do you have any indication what 2013 is going to be?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm hoping that my being the new director in the county, that initiation is done now and will be good.
Okay.
That my first year in, I started in July of 2010, and my first year we had like 9 tornadoes and a flood. So we're hoping that the initiation is over and we'll be okay. But you just don't know. The weather systems that are coming in, you just can't guess what it's going to do. And I think with the technology that we have now, we can detect things a lot quicker, and maybe that's why we're seeing an increase on tornadoes.
Okay. Now, this is Severe Weather Awareness Week. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is the tornado drill throughout the state of Indiana, which they get schools and industries and radio stations and TV stations to all participate in. So there's going to be a drill, 2 drills tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Do you know what time they are, roughly?
Yeah, the first drill, which is in the morning, will be sometime between 10 and 10:30 in the morning. And that is, typically it's so that the schools can practice. However, schools are on spring break this week. So they test their plans. This is the first year that's ever happened that school's been on spring break. But the daycares will be in place, and the workplaces, the facilities, factories, offices, they'll give an opportunity then to be able to test their emergency plans then. And then there'll be another one then in the evening, and that one will be sometime between 7:30 and 8. And that's where we really encourage families to get their plans together. What will you do if severe weather comes in at 2 o'clock in the morning? Where are you going to go? Do you have an area set up in your basement? Or if you don't have a basement, where's the safest location in your home?
Should people have little emergency kits ready at home, like in a box or something?
I mean, I recommend that. Of course, I'm the emergency management director.
Right.
So, but just a kit doesn't have to be a lot for a tornado warning. A battery backup radio so that you can, turn your radio on and you don't lose that when you're down. Because if a tornado is coming, your power is probably going to go out.
Right.
I recommend flashlights, at least 1 or 2 flashlights down there, and or wherever. It may not be a basement, and I understand that not everybody's lucky enough to have a basement. So it's just those little things will get you through that 15 to 20 minutes that tornado is going over your home, and you'll at least be able to see what you're facing then.
And you really don't know how long you're going to be without electricity and certain things. So having those extra little stockpiles of things can be very helpful. Yeah. Now the tornado drill will run on Wednesday, and it'll be broadcast on the radio stations. It'll be broadcast on this TV station. It'll be a little crawl that'll go across the bottom of your screen. But people will also have weather radios that will have the tone that comes across.
Correct. Everything will go as if it's the real thing. No weather radios will be going off. The sirens within the county should be going off. The entire plan will be put into play. So radio stations, as you already mentioned, will be promoting that information as well. So now's the time to, if you don't have a weather radio, to go out and get a weather radio, or to make sure that your weather radios that you have do have the batteries in them and are ready to go and are programmed. And if anybody needs to have a weather radio programmed, let's say the test goes tomorrow and theirs doesn't go off, bring that radio to my office, and Gary Fritz, my deputy director, can hook that up and find out exactly what's going on with that.
Okay. Now, when we talk about severe weather, and tomorrow the emphasis is going to be on tornadoes, severe weather is more than just tornadoes. Tornadoes really hit a small specific area, but you don't know where it's going to be.
Right.
However, oftentimes a lightning storm that comes through really affects a very wide area. How dangerous is lightning?
Well, lightning is deadly, and if you are outdoors, people get frustrated. They're at their child's baseball game, and they'll get frustrated because they'll call the game for a little while. You have to pull out of the fields for at least a half an hour after you've seen lightning, and that's because even though it may be 2 or 3 miles away, it can still strike where you are. An open field is just prime target for lightning strikes.
What other sort of severe weather is there? Is wind severe weather? Yeah,
we got straight line winds is a huge factor, and sometimes people will think that those are tornadoes, and they're actually straight line winds, and they can range from anywhere from 70-mile-an-hour winds all the way up to 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds, and that is not a tornado necessarily. It's straight line winds. That's when you have the National Weather Service come in and verify what that is, or at least get them the picture so that they can determine. Also in Dubois County, we have flash flooding. That's a huge factor in Dubois County, and we just had a perfect example the past weekend where we had 3 inches of rain come in, and how fast the roads were covered and closed, and we're still waiting on some of that to recede. So flash flooding is a huge factor.
And with flash flooding, well, I know the road pretty well. I can drive through. That's what people think, but it doesn't take much to pull that vehicle off.
No, that current's strong. And the one thing, I know it sounds silly, but turn around, don't drown. That's huge on flash flooding. Just don't even try it. I know it's an aggravation. You might have to go 15 miles out of your way, but it's better than losing your life or your vehicle or whatever.
Well, and if one other thing, you can really mess up your starter. The wetter it gets, the worse. So if you're economically, you're better off if you don't.
That's right.
If you won't do it to save your life, good for your starter.
That's right.
So this is severe weather week, and you really want people to be paying attention, just to be aware. It's not that we don't want people to panic. We're not trying to create end of the world sort of scenarios, but people should be thinking about when a tornado strikes, do my kids know where to go?
Right. It's a huge thing. I usually really try to promote the weather radios during this week. Now is the time. I know that it's cold and we've even got chances of snow off and on still going on, but we need to really start focusing on what's coming up, and that is the warmer weather. Well, with warmer weather, that's storms, and you need to and flash flooding. And these NOAA weather radios are available. They're not that expensive. They're about $30. You can get them, at Walgreens, Walmart, True Value. There's a lot of different areas that you can get them. We can program them in our office at no cost. And you will get firsthand information on what's going on. You will know as soon as our dispatch center knows that there's some kind of bad weather or bad situation in your county. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of having a weather radio in your home.
Okay, and one of the most important things you can do is go into a basement.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a tornado warning, go down to the basement.
Yeah, go to the basement, don't go to the
Don't go,
windows.
and don't go outside to look.
And take your video camera. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but you know, I don't recommend it to anybody.
Right.
So, you know, you are number one. You and your family are number one, whether that be when you're at school or when you're at home. You need to have a plan in place for no matter where you're at. And then another thing that I always encourage families to think about is, if it does happen during the daytime, what is your plan on getting in touch and making sure everybody's okay after everything passes? So this is the time to put all that into play, and it's a good time to get your kit ready for your basement or your interior room that you're going to go to during that alert.
Okay, and to wrap it up, what if a tornado does come through the area and you do, or straight line winds, and you do have damage to your property, your home, your outbuildings, trees, whatever? Should you call somebody?
Well, I mean, if you have injuries or any kind of devastation, you need to call your 911 center immediately to get the correct people there. If you've just got some damage, such as trees down or shingles have been ripped off your home, things like that, but you guys, you know, everybody within your home or your business are okay, then I would like to have those storm reports and not bombard the dispatch center with those kind of calls. And you can reach me 24 hours a day at 482-2202, because even at the end of the day, we set call forwarding to myself or my deputy director, so we're available all the time.
Why is it important that you know?
It's very important that we know, so that we can find out what may come down the peg. You know, you never know. If we have enough damage, such as we did in February of 2011, you know, we take those surveys so that we can turn that information into the state of Indiana. Possibly, you never know what might come from the federal government, and if you don't have the damage reports to give them, then there's no way we'll ever meet that criteria.
Well, Tammy, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And we thank what the EMA, Emergency Management Agency, is doing in Dubois County to keep us safe. Remember, tomorrow is a tornado drill day. That'll happen Wednesday morning and Wednesday evening. This is Severe Weather Awareness and Preparedness Week. Make sure you discuss it with your family. Tammy Miller, the Executive Director for the Dubois County EMA, has been our guest. We thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.